Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Serenity Landscaping Services. It is February 15th. The sun is out. It's getting warm. I was able to just walk around in a sweatshirt today, and you know what that means. Spring cleanup is just around the corner. All that snow is melted. You got dog poop in your yard. You got to pick all that up. Your grass is brown. You got no leaves on your trees. Your shrubs are dying. Make it easy on yourself. Give Serenity Landscaping Services a call at 518-331-0774. Let them know Chris from Chewing the Rag sent you over there. They're getting, like I said, they're booking spring cleaning. Summer months are coming. Spring months are coming. It's going to get warm out. Get a jump start on everything. Give a call at 518-331-0774. Also, check out Dangerously Average Dudes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. That is my other podcast hosted by myself and Ray Hughes. Again, that's Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And check out Pinchworm Gaming. That is on YouTube only. I don't stream on Twitch. Pinchworm Gaming on YouTube. I stream Apex, COD, Madden, 2K, Hogwarts Legacy currently. I'm having fun with that. I'm about 5 or 6 hours in and really don't even feel like I scratched the surface of that game. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I want to stream that more. And then I'll stream one-offs, random indie games, just anything I'm in the mood for and anything that comes my way in suggestions. Alright, so this is technically our Valentine's Day episode, but also it is the first episode after the Super Bowl. UFC 284 just happened. We got a couple big fights coming up as well that I want to talk about. But let's get started on that Super Bowl. So we had the Eagles facing Kansas City Chiefs. I'm a Cowboys fan. But I never want to be that guy who's like, I hope they get smoked. Granted, I do hope they get smoked, but I kind of kept my mouth shut. I didn't live tweet the game, which I normally would. I just kind of watched, and then I talked a bunch of shit the next day because, you know, Prescott was in the building. He was getting his Walter Payton Man of the Year award, and because the Eagles fans were there, a lot of boos happened. So if you're going to boo my quarterback, I'm going to talk some shit about you taking that L. I also thought it was funny that two Giants players impacted the game. Kadarius Toney set a record for the longest punt return in NFL history for the Super Bowl. He also scored a touchdown. And then Bradbury, you know, once a Giant, always a Giant, went out there, caused the flag rather, and pretty much sealed the game for the Chiefs. So NFC East doing their thing. We had everybody but a Commanders are just, they're useless. Fuck the Commanders. What are they? It was the Giants that were useless, but, you know, they got Dable over there now, and they look like they're on the up and up. Commanders, they got, Howell, I guess, is going to be starting. They don't even know what they're doing at quarterback. They do have Terry McLaurin, which Dallas needs a fucking another receiver, so if he wants to leave that shithole and just come over here, I'm about that. But yeah, all in all, the Super Bowl itself, I thought was all right. It was a good Super Bowl. The way it ended is whatever. Bradbury admitted to the hold. There's clear evidence that he held. People are saying it wasn't a catchable ball, but those people don't know the rules. You don't need a catchable ball. It's not a pass interference. If you hold before the quarterback releases the ball, they're going to call that, or they should call that every time. They're going to call that, I don't know, but they definitely should. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I don't know I don't get hype for the offseason because I root for the Cowboys and they don't really do anything in free agency as much as we all want them to. They're literally all about draft and we like our guys, and really they got worse, I think, in free agency last year. You traded Amari Cooper for a fifth and you thought James Washington was going to replace him, and he got injured. Finally comes back, drops 2 passes, and you cut him. T.Y. Hilton was the biggest addition, and he was, Christmas Eve is when he debuted, so realistically, there's not too much to get hype about. Jerry Jones is already fucking saying things like, we saw the Rams and the Eagles to go all in, and look at them now. And it's like, one won a Super Bowl last year, one was in a Super Bowl this year. The Rams look like ass this year, but they already won. Doesn't really, what they wanted to do, they did. So it's gonna be interesting. Islam versus Volk just happened. This is the issue with the UFC, and it's not really them. It's more like McGregor, being who he is, brought in a bunch of casual fans, and casual fans are annoying. I'm not like a diehard. It is like the sport that I probably know the most about and follow the most, but I'm not a casual, but I'm not a fucking analyst. I'm not a pro. I'm not anything. I'm just a fan. I don't like the fans who say things like, "There's no way Islam won that fight. It was either a draw or Volkanovski won." Like, what? How the fuck can you say there's no way this guy won? It was either a tie, which already means it was a close enough fight where either guy could win, or the other guy won. There's no way anybody with a brain could say here like that. It doesn't make sense. I can't even form a fucking sentence for it because it's so stupid. And those are also the fans that are probably hyped for fucking slap fighting. They don't care. They don't really pay attention. Slap fighting's fucking stupid. I don't even know why I just brought that up, but it is what it is. That's a glorified YouTube challenge is what I call it. It's not a sport at all. They offered a UFC vet, like $2,000 a show, $2,000 to win a slap. That's $4,000 total on the table to stand there and just get CTE because there's no way you're going to avoid it. You're getting cracked. You can't defend yourself. They hold like a foam pad. I don't really understand that, but fuck that. I just got myself mad by bringing that up. There was no reason for me to bring that up. I guess when you're talking about casual things, that's like the most casual. People sharing that, and Dana White, he's trying to get it going. He's got everybody sharing clips, and it's on TBS. I'm over here fucking saying the network it's on and promoting it. But he is trying. I don't foresee it lasting long. I think true fight fans, I guess that's why I brought it up, because true fight fans, there's no real interest there. It's literally your casual, the guys who just want to see people get dropped. That's no diehard is out here going, that's the sport I want to watch, because it's a YouTube challenge. It's not a sport. The reason I relate those two things because, like I said, the casuals, they just want violence. In the Islam and Volk fight, Islam had Volk's back in round. This was it. The Islam had Volk's back in round 4, and I think he had it for over 3 minutes. And people are like, "Well, he didn't do any damage." Okay, you're not winning a fight. You're not even in the fight if your significant punch is over the shoulder hitting a guy who's backpacking you and has you in a body triangle. That should be a 10-8 right there. You're not doing it. For over 3 minutes, somebody has your back. You're seatbelted. They are backpacking the hell out of you. They're trying to get under. Volk doesn't have a neck. He's just a round head on shoulders. He has no neck. So for Islam, he's like, okay, well, I got to try to get under this thing. And Volk is throwing punches, but it's just like trying to that's his defense right there. His defense mechanism is throwing over the shoulder and just hoping Islam doesn't, which credit to him, because one of those Dagestani guys gets your back rather, you almost guarantee the fight's over, especially with 3+ minutes. So credit to him. I think the rematch will happen. And I also think that Volk, he's probably going to relinquish the 140. I don't think he'll ever lose the 145. Even Yair Rodriguez, who looked really good against Emmett, I don't think he's going to really pose much of a threat to Volk. I think it'll be interesting, but I don't think he's going to win it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I revisit this after that, but I think he's going to relinquish the 145. I think he's going to move up to 155, take a couple more fights there, try for the belt one more time, and then just ride off into the sunset. That's my honest prediction. I don't think many 145ers currently are beating him, and I only think the top heap of 155ers are beating him. The fact that he was able to survive, arguably win, draw, whatever it was that everybody thought, against somebody like Islam, who, what's he have, one loss, and was kind of just Dan Hooker, submitted Oliveira, obviously, for the belt. Like, he's just another one of those guys where people were like, great, now we have to do it Khabib with striking. So it's going to be interesting. I think Volk moves up to 155, and that's where he retires. That's my prediction. I know I'm 10 minutes in talking about sports. I do not want to be associated with a sports podcast. That's not what this is. Super Bowl's like the biggest event for us in the States, and Islam Volk was really interesting just because, Islam got the belt, and immediately Volk was like, yeah, I'm moving up. Let's fight. So that was a big fight. And then the other fight that I want to talk about is Cyril Gane versus Jones, because, again, just another big fight. Jones, it's probably going to be his biggest test. Gane got out-wrestled by Francis, but Francis is physically stronger than Jones. Jones is obviously a freak athlete and a dominant wrestler. So it's going to be interesting to see how Gane deals with, because he doesn't have to deal with physical strength now as much. Jones is still strong, but not Francis Ngannou strong. He's going to have to deal with technique over strength in the wrestling department. And then Jones is also way more creative with his throws. His elbows. He was doing shoulder strikes before Conor did the shit to Serenity that everybody thought he coined. I don't understand that either, but that's fine. That oblique kick, the way he works the body, he has a lot more to deal with, but he's also fighting somebody like Gane who hits hard. Jones does get hit, so it's not impossible for Gane to connect. And he moves. He's like 240, 230 plus, and he moves really well. It's a lot like, if you're relating it to boxing, a lot like Tyson Fury. So that's going to be interesting, and that's probably the next one I'm hyped for in regard to the UFC. And then, obviously, Chandler, Conor, as much as I was hating on Conor, that's going to be pretty fun as well. They're coaching Tough. Tough's back. The Ultimate Fighter's back. I don't want to give a prediction for that, but I will say I think if it ends early, I think if they fight the way I think they're going to fight, it's going to end within 2. One of them's going down. There's no way they don't go out there and just brawl. Chandler is like Gaethje and Dustin the way he wants to just... That 155 division in general, it's murderer's row, so that's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be interesting for Conor to come back, and that's his first matchup. All right, sports aside, let's get into it. Could we talk about this? Could we talk about people who say every big news story is a cover-up for other big news stories? Who the fuck... Who are you to say, oh, notice how the government's talking about shooting down UFOs? What's going on in Ohio? What's going on with the trains? What's going on in Arizona with the trucks? How do you know about it, you fuck? What do you... It's not being covered up very well if Nancy from accounting knows what's going on. What is it with people who are like, did you know, I don't know if you noticed this. First it was the balloon, right? And then where's Epstein's list, right? And then UFOs, right? What happened with the fighter jets in Alaska? Nobody's talking about that. Everybody's focused on these balloons. And then the UFOs. And then Arizona. A truck tips over. It's like a truck tipped over, dude. What do you want me to tell you? What was it? High winds, and then I think he hit like a pop. I don't even know what happened. You know why? Because I didn't look into it. But guess what? You could have. The headline was there. I knew it happened. You know why I knew it happened? Because it's not being covered up. You think Chris, who works in the fucking warehouse and just knows about cover-ups? No. You think Sue, who retired from Asswipe's fucking retirement home, knows about things that are being covered up? No, we don't. It's a matter of, did you see the headline? Did you want to fucking open it up and read about it? It's not the news job. The job of the news is to give you the news. They say, here's what happened. You look into it if you want to know more. I live in New York. I'm not expecting them to go in depth on something that happened in Arizona. Okay, I'm expecting them to let me know that it happened. And if I want to find out more, I can go look into it. Just like the Alaska thing. Oh, fighter jets. What happened? Guess what? It actually happens more than you believe. Now, they're saying, do we know if that's what it was? I forget what it's called, that maneuver or whatever. It's pretty much just, we do it too. It's just go into their airspace and flex nuts a little bit. Just let them know, like, hey, you know, we're capable of getting over here. And you wait until somebody fucking kicks you out. That's all it was. Possibly. I don't know. Didn't look into it. Didn't care. The fucking trail derailment. Again, where was that? Ohio or Texas or both, whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. It is a little weird. I'll admit that. But, like, I didn't look into it. I could. I saw the article. Saw the headline. Could have clicked it. Could have opened it. Didn't care. It's not their job to make me care. And also, you know what? I'm going to say this. The Chinese balloon, it's impressive. It's impressive. You ever blow up a fucking balloon for a kid's birthday party, dude? For my son's birthday party, you know how many balloons we blew up? And guess what? Within, I don't know, 4 to 6 hours, those things are fucking useless. They just go down. They're not floating anymore. You kick it, it just falls right back down, dude. It's depressing. It's deflated. It's a nutsack. It's an empty nutsack. And you're telling me it's not impressive? A Chinese balloon. You know where China is on a map? You know where Montana is? Like on a globe, on a world map? You know how impressive it is for a fucking balloon to go from China to Montana? That's nothing to scoff at. That is, again, we shouldn't even have shot that thing down. They're like, oh, we waited till it got over the ocean. We needed to intercept that thing. We need to figure out what they used in that balloon to make it stay afloat. And that's what I want for my kid's birthday next year, because I want fucking balloons that can go from New York to China. That's what I want. And I know somebody's like, Chris, they're not actually balloons. And you're not fucking Central Intelligence. You don't know about fucking stories that are being covered up. You know about stories that are being promoted. That's my... I don't know about balloons. You don't know about actual covered up stories, you fucking people. That's fucking insane. I got a couple. So we do... Well, I do, I guess. I do questions that people will send in, especially for guests, which I should have my first guest on next week's episode. So these come out every Thursday. This will be February 16th is when this comes out. I should have a guest episode next Thursday. It should be a lot of fun. I'm also going to have a monthly guest, just one reoccurring guy, Mello. He does the Who You Got podcast. We're going to do a segment called Minutes with Mello where I just get him on here. And we're just going to bullshit for a few minutes, talk about current events, probably, maybe game, whatever it's going to be. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. But the reason I bring this up is we actually get questions in. This is the Valentine's Day episode, so I didn't really take any questions. We kind of just gathered the Valentine's Day type questions. So that'll be interesting. We're going to look that up now, or pull that up now, rather. Let me see here. I don't have anybody here to help me, so I just do everything. So question number 1. And if you ever do have questions that you want to send in, chewingtheragpod@gmail.com. Chewing has no G in it. It's literally chewingtherag@gmail.com. You can ask, if you're familiar with how we do Ask the Dads on Dangerously Average Dudes, you can ask anything from personal questions to funny, like things that you think would be funny to hear me answer. Anything at all. I'm not ashamed to answer anything you send my way. Dangerously Average Dudes is a little bit different because it's myself and Ray. This is more geared toward, this podcast is more geared toward just me, or I'll put up something so that people can ask guests that I'm going to have on. So if I have like a streamer on, if you have any questions about streaming, a comedian on, any questions on comedy, anything like that. All right, so let's get into these Valentine's Day questions. So question number 1 is, stay in or go out for Valentine's? Oh, bro, I'm staying in. I'm staying in for everything. That's like one of the big reasons why I'm no longer involved in like stand-up. Just because the moment we had my son, like, bro, I'm not trying to be out at all. I'm trying to get home at a reasonable hour, hang out with him, and then just be inside. Now, granted, will we go out? Yeah, for my most recent birthday, we went up to Lake Placid, myself and my wife, and went out to eat and did that way. But we're trying to stay in at like any cost. We like make excuses to not go out, and that's not even just me. That's myself and her. So I'm lucky in that sense where I don't have somebody who's trying to go out all the time, because I definitely ain't trying to go out all the time. Um, this one, would you surprise your significant other with an expensive gift, or would you consult with them before spending money on it? Dude, I'm fucking terrible with money. I'm good at like making sure my shit's paid and making sure I have money, but in regard to that, if I see something expensive or not and I'm able to get it, I'm gonna get it. Even if it's for me, if it's for her, if it's for our son, like bro, I'm going to just buy it and ask questions later, and I might get the, oh, you shouldn't have done that. That's too much. You spent too much on me, and it's like, dude, I work for a living. I'm gonna make it back. So 100%, I'm not consulting shit. I'm getting what I want. I'm spending what I want, and that's final. Would you consider your parents a role model for relationships? That's fucking hilarious. No. Yeah, they are. What the fuck was that? Fucking dog. They are the what not to do role model. I mean, like, they definitely care for each other, but that's pretty much where it starts and ends. No way in shit would I look at them as a role model for relationships. I literally model everything I do going like, if there's like a fork, I'm complete. They're left, I'm right. I'm a hard I'll dance right. I'm moonwalking to I'm not going left at all. So absolutely not. what soothes what soothes you the most on the back of bad news or a tough day? Being home. Literally answer to number one. Just coming home. I mean, what am I gonna do? Bring work home with me? The guy at the fucking store who was a dickhead, bring him? No. Come home, hang out with my son, pet my dogs, have my wife here. I'm chilling. I don't bring anything home with me. You might get like a grumpiness out of me if I didn't get more than 4 hours of sleep, but I get my 4 hours, dude. I'm up and going. That's an easy one. Do you like romantic movies? What is your favorite romantic movie? Do I like romantic movies? Bro, I can tolerate them. I mean, I'll watch it. I can't watch like a love story. I'll watch like a rom com. You know, you watch like This Means War. I'll watch that. You watch what? I mean, 500 Days of Summer is like in my top movies. I said that before. I don't know, Dangerously Average Dudes. 500 Days of Summer is 100% a spin on a rom com. I mean, it's more about like how he doesn't end up with her. The way that movie ends fucking sucks, by the way. The moment he says, or she says her name is Autumn, dude, why do you have to do that? That's like the Last of Us ending for me. The endings will just butcher, dude. My dogs are going insane right now. Endings will butcher things for me. Like, I have that in my top movies, and I'm still completely irritated with how it ended. But to answer the question, do I like romantic movies? I'll watch a romantic comedy 100%. I'll be fine with it. Let me see. There are more here. It's not loading. Oh, here we go. Is Valentine's Day promoted by companies whose only interest is making money? I think they definitely help. I don't know if it's the only thing. I think the general idea of it is probably a good idea, whether we like it or not. You know, promote, brag, boast about the person you're with. But yeah, 100% is for money. What are we talking about? It makes money. That's an easy one. And then one last question, which, good. All right. Not Valentine's Day related. How long is the average piss? Is what somebody asked me. I'm going to look it up after I answer, but I'm going to play out pissing in my head real quick. So you go in. We'll say the toilet seat's down because I'm a gentleman. Lift it up. The Snoop Dogg in the beginning. I'm going to say 12 to 15 seconds. is the average piss? And now I'm going to look it up because I need to know if I'm right or wrong. How long is the duration of urine? Did I say how long is the longest piss? I meant to say average. I don't remember what I said. Oh, cool. I wrote duration of time. I actually almost wrote penis when I typed in P. So I guess I'm still insecure about that at 30. So from house cats to elephants and most mammals, it takes about 20 seconds to urinate. And that goes for humans as well. So the average piss should be about 20 seconds. And they say if you are over or under that, you should change your daily routine. I feel like mine are short because I go so often, because I'm always, I got my liquid IV, I got my Gatorade, I got a jug of water. I'm always drinking. So I'm going to say the reason mine are short is because I probably go more times. What's that? How often should you piss? How often should you urinate? Between 6 and 7 times in a okay, I guess I don't go that often. I go about average, so never mind. Maybe I need to change my daily routine according to this. Oh, that's insane. All right, I think we're going to call it. It's about a half hour. I want to save the longer episodes for episodes with guests, which, like I said, I got a couple coming up. I got my buddy Mark, who streams. I got Lenny from Concrete. You can check them out. He'll be on soon. Mello will probably make his debut for our reoccurring guest spot. I would say in the next 2 or 3 episodes. That's going to be fun. But in the meantime, check me and Ray out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube at Dangerously Average Dudes. If you're liking this podcast, make sure you like, subscribe, share. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts is where I'll be. Shoot me a like on Facebook if you have any questions for the podcast, or any upcoming guests. You can at Chewing the Rag on Instagram, you can ask, or email's probably your best bet, chewingtheragpod@gmail.com. My first and next guest will be Mark, who streams video games on TikTok. He's going viral on TikTok. He makes videos on there. Somebody I went to high school with, so if you have any questions about going viral, also he sells clothing, so if you have any questions on making and selling clothing, any questions on streaming, I've popped into a few streams. He gets a pretty steady view over there. If you have any questions on any of that, definitely send them over, or just send us any question you want. Doesn't have to be related to what he does, what I do. You can make it funny. If you have a serious question, ask a serious question. chewingtheragpod@gmail.com. If you like the show, be sure to drop a rating. It helps us out. And definitely subscribe on whatever listening platform you're on. It really does help a lot. It'll help me. Also, you'll get notified when I drop new episodes if it is something you enjoy. This one's a little monotone. It's the first lengthier episode. It's more of just a recap of weekend events and focused on the holiday that we're on. But once we get that first guest on and we really get rolling, we have that hour-long episode, and each episode will be about an hour long from here. And it will be every Thursday it drops. That's when you can expect the real good stuff. So definitely like, subscribe, share, reach out, follow on socials, and kiss all your friends. Kiss them all. Kiss them all good night. It's Valentine's Day. Give everybody a handy. I'm out.